the laws that you can use to put in your affidavit of truth, which is the billing error notice that you would need to give to them. So like I said, the affidavit kind of has to tell a story, a beginning, middle, end, and I will show you kind of like an example of that. But it's not the whole affidavit, but that will be available if you need everything, like a template. I'll probably post that tomorrow, but I'm just going to go over the rest of the laws that you can put in the affidavit, and you need to change that affidavit to your specific situation. Don't just grab it and just send it, because it might have things in there that don't apply to you. So you have to read through it and see which ones do apply. So 15 USC 1666E is failure to comply. So after you've said all these other things, right, after reviewed all this, this is a violation. This is a law that's saying if they fail to comply under 15 U.S. 166E, or they fail to comply to one of these things, one of these laws, so they would be in violation under 15 U.S.C. 1666E. That's how you say it. So these are like the CFRs are the laws. So under 16 CFR 4332, you have the preservation of consumer claims and defenses of unfair or deceptive acts. So pursuant to 16 CFR 433.2, you can say corporations are not exempt and you can claim your rights due to unfair and deceptive practice. So pursuant to this allows you to claim your rights of them practicing unfair and deceptive practices. So these are the laws that you're going to be putting in your affidavit. So under 16 CFR 433, preservation of consumer claims and defenses. So these are the rights that you have to defend yourself against all the things that they've been doing, like not taking your remittance coupon and just using it for their advantage so they can use it as a negotiable instrument and make a lot of money off of it. So you're saying, no, I'm going to use my rights to defend myself and claim what I want. So under Title 18 Code 1961, you're going to state that they're partaking in racketeering by knowing and intentionally sending dividends by claim. So basically, like they said, the remittance coupons are checks, if you've ever heard of that. And that's why you can claim the credits, to pay for that, to pay your bill, to discharge. Like if it says you owe $238, you can say pay in full, and they should be able to credit your account for $238 because it's an actual check. It's not an invoice or whatever they're making you believe it is. So they're knowingly and intentionally sending dividends, because some people do sue them, and once they get them in default with using like the administrative process, you get them in default, and they can get the COD, file that with the Secretary of State. That's a different method. They get the, what is it called? It's the COD. It's like from the Secretary of State, claiming that you have them in default, and after 90 days, that turns into accounts receivable, and you can take that to a broker and get dividends. So these are actually like dividend checks. So that's what they take them. They take the negotiable instrument and they make a whole bunch of money on them because they leverage them. Even if your bill says $238, they probably make like 10 times more of that. Or I don't even know how much, but they leverage it to a high amount. So that's why dividends are things on the stock markets. So it's kind of weird, yeah. But anyway, So you're saying that they're under this law, they're participating in racketeering, knowingly and intentionally sending you dividends. By claim, dividends are, and they're claiming that by claiming, right? By claiming dividends are invoices. This amounts to theft, embezzlement, and deception. Okay, so under 18 U.S. Code 1341, fraud and swindles, you're claiming that they're doing that to you. And under this code, they're saying by sending you that in the mail, because they do send you a lot of, they could send you, unless you have everything e-filed, but I guess it might be, I don't know if this law includes electronic filing, you have to see, but through the U.S. mail, they're sending you things that they say are invoices, but it's actually not. So they're committing fraud in the U.S. mail, so you could make that claim too. But they're doing that. And this is a code, actually. This is not a law, this is a code. The codes are the CFRs. But still, they're violating a law here. This is the violation. Participating in fraud through the U.S. mail. I just wrote that to summarize it. But here is where they're saying it all. So you can read that through and you can put the parts that apply to you. See, it does say delivered by the post office. Knowingly causes to be delivered by the post office, schemes, false or fraudulent pretenses, right? So fraud by mail. You need to provide all information, because in this, once you start doing this, you want them to send you the bills by mail. So you take off the e-billing and you do paper billing. And sometimes now they don't even have it available, so you have to call and ask them. They will still try to convince you, oh no, do e-file or email. What do they call it? E-billing? Yeah. So anyway, just try to get it paper, because then you don't have to spend on printing, and you have the original. They have the original, voucher, coupon voucher. You need to provide all information on so one of the things you want to do in your affidavit is to ask them to provide all information on accepted remittance transfers. Okay, so these are the laws about remittance transfers. That's the law. And then this is the code. So you can use that. According to this, pursuant to this, please provide all information. And then please see Regulation B12, CRF, Subpart B, requirement remittance transfers for reference. Please provide accepted remittance slip transfers so I may tender a bill of credit approval. If this notice contains a remittance slip that is not accepted, please return the original coupon and why it was denied. So you want them to tell you why they're not going to take your remittance coupon. And usually they won't return it. They won't return it. So if they don't return it, if you've been sending them in and they're not returning them, they need to explain why. Otherwise, they're doing all this stuff, committing all these things that we just reviewed. All the deception and everything. So basically, this is just kind of just to give you an idea. If you don't get the template and you know how to write affidavits, it's kind of letting you know you need the title, you need your name and address, or if you want to just try it on your own, you need the company's name and address, and this is how I recommend. You can either write fact or the fact is, and like I said, there's a beginning, middle, end, so that you can see fact in accordance with UCC 3306. And then you put your name, and then whatever it is, Mary, affiant, am a federally protected consumer, debtor, and a holder in due course. And then the next one would be like you say fact, um, whatever corporation, fact, AT&T, you would say who they are. And then you would start saying everyone fact, like this might be in the middle. It says fact is in accordance with 15 USC 1666D, the amount balance should be credited and the remaining balance should be paid to me, the consumer, by check if there is a credit balance with the surplus above $1, accordance with the journal and general entries stated in publication 583. So before that, that's like saying they should credit, but before that, you have to start stating all the reasons why they need to credit you, right? You have claims to the instrument, you're a holder of the you have a claim to the instrument. What a credit card means, you have to explain all this, that you're doing a billing error, you're going to claim that you have a billing error, and you need, and under the law, you're sending the billing error notice because that is what is required. See, you have to do that. So you make sure you do that. And you can put all that you don't want any adverse actions are prohibited. They can't accelerate your debt and give you a bunch of late fees, restrictions on accounts. So you say that, and all fact is adverse actions are prohibited during this billing error resolution. So you have to state all these things. And I did review them all in the other videos. So you're going to be sending a cover letter. The cover letter has a list of things that are all enclosed. Other thing, that did they provide general disclosure? Did they disclose all this to you about remittance coupons, about, what a credit card is? It could be any card used for obtaining money or credit. So your social security card, basically you're saying that that's what that is, because that's used for obtaining credit and it's a card. And did they provide general disclosure on all these things? Which they are required to, right? They're required to do that. And under this code, they need to provide documentary. So did they disclose all this? Did they provide all the documents and papers and correspondence? They need to provide that to you, otherwise they're in violation, right? And this is about the treatment of credit balances. If you have an over and excess of $1, then it needs to be credited to you. So you can put all, in fact, you need to do this, in fact, you need to do that. So that's kind of an example how you do it. These little statements that you're doing, these little claims that you're making. And then here is asking them, you made all these payments when they could have been using your remittance coupons to credit you. And you're asking for a return of goods, like a return of some money, maybe like 6 months back, a return of your payments. Why? Because under Title 18 U.S. Aid, what is the obligation of the United States? It says it here. Includes all. It says all bonds, all certificate of indebtedness, and it does say coupons here, all coupons and all bills. So who's obligated to pay all this? That's why you can use the remittance coupon, because it will come from the Treasury, right? They're obligated to do this, to discharge the debt. Most of the companies will fight you, but some of them will do it. And what's an obligor, right? And that comes from here. You're going to return it to the obligor. And who is the obligor? It's the all caps name, right? What does it mean to be an obligor? An obligor is known as a debtor, and the debtor is the all caps name. So 12 CSR, this is the billing error. So this is the law that you're invoking, saying I think there's a billing error because according to these laws, it's saying that these obligations are of the United States, right? And the obligor is asking for a return of their goods pursuant to 15 code 166E. So that's kind of what the idea is. You're trying to use these laws in your affidavit to make a point here, to state a claim. And then under 12 CSR 102613, consumers' right to withhold. So under this law, once you dispute something, you have the right to withhold the disputed amount, and collection action is prohibited. You need to tell them that in your affidavit. Pursuant to this, you have the right to withhold any disputed amount, right? And it has to be the last 60 days to use this law. But and the customer need not pay and need not collect. That's under that. You're going to invoke that. But then for this law, you're going to ask, hey, what about in the past when I did pay you? We probably had a billing error back then, and I'm asking for a return of my goods that I gave to you. So, and then under this one, there's civil liability. So I'm just kind of reviewing. I already went through these in the other videos, and I went through these today. So you do need to go through them so you can understand, and then you can make these under this, like this, in accordance with 15 USC 1666D, the amount balance should be credited to me. See, it's kind of like you're using the law and restating it. Under this needs to happen under that. So because you did this, you have to, it's kind of like writing a story here, the beginning, middle, and end. So after you've done a bunch of these, so you see how many laws that you can use to make a bunch of these, a few pages of them, because you have to really state what you're trying to do here. And then at the end, you have to put something like, I declare all the statements are true and factual, and then this is where you put the name like this. You can put the beneficiary signature if you want, or however you do it. Oops, over here should be a colon, sorry. And then make sure you have it notary with the jurat, because that means, you did it under oath. Someone witnessed you signed this, and that's the notary. And then that's the example, and with the laws that you can use to include in there. And there could be a few other laws if you look in there in the consumer law, but that's a lot. That's enough probably to make an affidavit. And just write down the laws and then look them up yourself and write your own affidavit. Good luck. Bye.